Homies, quick PSA announcement. So this morning, whenever me and Yoshi were leaving, we found one of his homies passed away in the middle of the street, man. So to all y'all mamas with fur babies, or all y'all people who have dogs and maybe y'all don't care about them as much as, some of us do, but y'all make sure y'all's dogs are put up. Make sure y'all know they get out of the gate, dude. Make sure you close up them holes in the gate. See, this dog, I called him Speedy, bro, and I was more upset than his owner, guys. So Speedy, he got his name because every time I would see him, and so if y'all watch some of my lives, y'all would see him on there. He would run up to the gate and he would let Yoshi put his nose to his nose, and right when it was gonna get close, he would just take off. He reminded me of that little yellow bird from Angry Birds, the one that's really, really fast. He reminded me of him, bro. So R.I.P. to Speedy, man, because they did him dirty. So me and Yoshi left this morning, and I saw something in the street on the access road on the side, and I said, man, I hope that's not who I think it is. And as I got closer, Yoshi got closer. Yoshi started crying. It was so sad, dude. Yoshi was like he knew, and he wanted to go see him, but I was like, no, Dad. I was like, because the cars, like I said, it's the access road. I said, no, baby. I said, we can't go right there. So then I said, fuck, dude, what do I do? So I said, you know what? Let me go tell the owner, because maybe the owner doesn't even know, because this was like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. It's Saturday, so people usually sleep in. So I went to the house and I knocked on the door. The lady came out and I was like, Mama, I said, I don't mean to alarm you. I said, but I think your dog might have got hit. So she was like, oh my God, where? So I said, come here. I said, he's on the access road. I said, I hope it's not your dog. I said, because I love your dog. I said, but come here. So anyways, I took her where it was, and she just went she just looked at him and she was just like, she didn't cry or nothing, girl. I cried for that dog more than what she did, and I said, I'm so sorry, Mama. And you could tell that she was upset, though. People mourn different. People mourn different, so maybe she was in shock or whatever. She said that her son, that her youngest son, really cared about that dog. I said, oh, Mama. I said, well, just tell him that, just tell him that he ran away or something, because that little boy's gonna be sad. And then school just started and stuff. But I feel so bad, dude, because every time I would see Speedy and he would get out the gate, I would tell him, get inside, go home, Speedy. And girl, I've already stopped him from getting hit like twice. And it's just so sad, man, because to have saved his life, all it would have taken was a board. Just one little board right there to block him from getting out of the gate, bro. Because right there, when you open and close the gate, it's a chain link gate. At the bottom, instead of it being straight thin, they widened up at the bottom. So all it would have taken was even a zip tie, a little piece of board, a little string. Like, it's just so sad, dude, because something this little big could have saved a lot of sadness and grief, and could have saved little Steve's life. So be careful.